Hi everybody, Dave here from British Trucking. Welcome to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to take a look at why truck drivers who have already left the trucking industry don't want to return to the trucking industry in 2021. If this is your first visit to the British Trucking channel, we cover topics about trucking in the UK. If you have an interest in truck driving, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified when we upload any new videos. Right, let's get started. Why truck drivers are not returning to the industry in 2021. If you already follow the British Trucking channel, you will remember I put a video up in mid-2019 called Why Truck Drivers Are Leaving the Industry. This video featured the Reverend Simon Sideways, who very kindly gave his opinions about problems that were causing truck drivers to leave back in 2019. Now, this video has had the most views on the British Trucking channel to date, simply because it's a topic that still remains a topic of discussion even now in 2021. Many of the comments on the video show the discontent with trucking, and not only in the UK, we've got fellow truckers in the United States and other parts of the world who are experiencing the very same issues. Recent media coverage has highlighted the shortage of drivers in the UK trucking industry. And in fact, there was a media frenzy recently that specifically targeted the shortage of fuel tanker drivers. This particular media coverage, in my opinion, was a bit exaggerated and subsequently caused mass panic with the general public, and they started panic buying fuel, making the situation even worse. The media coverage was relentless, and the fuel tankers were now in a situation where they couldn't keep up with demand. So the government were then forced into deploying the army to drive fuel tankers and help alleviate the crisis. The media put many trucking issues back into the spotlight, and the UK government has had to start addressing issues to try and keep the supply chain functional in Britain. The UK government has made some changes that they believe will attract new drivers, plus encourage drivers who have already left the industry to return back to truck driving. One of the government changes is to make the HGV driving test more streamlined for new truck drivers by removing the requirement to do the trailer reversing manoeuvre on a Class 1 driving test. The reversing test will now be completed during the driver training before they take the test, and a box will be ticked and show that the driver managed to reverse successfully before taking the final test. Another change the government made was they scrapped the towing a trailer test for a car to make more examiners available to do the HGV driving test. The government hopes these measures will speed up the process and make testing more efficient, and new drivers can get through their test more quickly and hopefully start filling the seats in the trucks. The government also recently sent out letters to truck drivers who were no longer driving in the industry and trying to get them to return back to trucking. Briefly, the letter read, "We are writing to you because the supply chain is crumbling. We are working on the logistics problems to ease the shortage of drivers. Please come back. Even if your CPC has lapsed, training can be done online in classroom tests." Well, somehow I don't think the letter was thought out very well. To mention the CPC at the end of the letter was a big mistake, considering that many experienced, qualified drivers had left the industry in the first place because of the CPC. If you're watching and you're not familiar with the term CPC, it stands for Certificate of Professional Competence. And in the UK, a driver has to sit in a classroom and complete a 35-hour training over a period of 5 years to be able to continue to drive a truck professionally. Now, many drivers left the trucking industry, especially older experienced drivers, because they saw the CPC as an insult to their intelligence. So why the government hope to achieve getting them back by rubbing their noses in it in a letter is beyond me. Now, the government also state in their letter that pay is improving across the haulage sector, which may be true in some parts of the country, but it's certainly not the case in the most parts of the country, where wages are still as low as £10 an hour. Now, a truck driver's day is long. There are few truck drivers that work 40 hours in a week. In fact, most drivers are working maximum hours to be able to do their work, and for the most time with very little reward or respect for their efforts. So don't get me wrong, personally I love truck driving. I've wanted to drive trucks since I was a youngster, cutting pictures out of truck magazines and sellotaping them on my bedroom wall at the disgust of my mother, I must add. Anyway, most truck drivers love driving trucks, but when legislation, low pay and poor working conditions hold you back day in and day out, it's no wonder that drivers that have already left the industry don't want to return. The IR35 tax changes back in April 2021 caused many self-employed truck drivers to leave the industry because they simply couldn't make the job pay anymore. The tax changes increased their tax and national insurance that they would have to pay if they were contracted to a single company, for example. The government also set up a plan to allow 5,000 foreign workers to obtain visas to come and drive trucks in the UK recently, to try and create a quick fix boost to truck driving. The latest proposal they've come up with is to relax cabotage rules to EU drivers delivering in the UK, allowing them to make unlimited amount of deliveries across the UK over a 6-month period in an effort to increase the supply chain. Now, the problem with this cabotage change is hauliers in this country, they just won't be able to compete, allowing EU hauliers to undercut British hauliers with pricing. It just seems to me that everything the government changes makes the situation worse and not better right now. The government really needs to look at long-term solutions to the trucking problems in the industry and stop putting all their resources into quick fixes. The problem has been with us for a long time, even before Brexit, which everybody seems to blame these days for the things that happen in the UK trucking industry. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Truck drivers are not going to come back into the industry unless the wages are increased right across the board. It needs to go to a realistic level. Working hours and working conditions need to be greatly improved. The CPC needs to be thrown into the long grass because it's just not needed in this country, especially now we're out of the EU. I mean, after all, it was an EU directive that brought it into this country back in 2009. I think the infrastructure needs upgrading in this country to provide better truck parking, washing facilities, and reduced overall costs to truck drivers when doing their job. Well, I think you get the picture. Would you want to come back and drive trucks in the UK right now? Well, hopefully things will get a serious dose of looking at and things will improve quickly. Or believe me, I think we're in for a bumpy ride over the next year or so, unless some sensible changes are made to address the main issues. Maybe truck drivers might return back to the trucking industry in the future, but I'm hesitant as to say they will right now. Well, that's it for this video. If you have any comments, certainly about the topics we've covered, please leave a comment down below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give the video a big thumbs up if you liked it. We will see you in the next one. Bye for now.